Okay, today should be pretty straightforward. This is going to be our last day of Swiss, and I believe after this it'll only be one best of five per day. So this is the last day for DFS for League of Legends that's going to be any good. Hopefully DraftKings. I would prefer 2 day slates to showdowns. You know what? You should message your rep and say you prefer 2 day slates to showdowns, because then we could have a couple 2 day slates, or if they were really willing to do 4 day slate, that would be great for me, but I don't think for other people that would be preferable. I'll get projections up probably tomorrow afternoon for the first round, first set of knockouts, which should be 4 games, right? 8 teams, 4 games down to two. So but this really drags out for the next week or so. This is the last really great day, and we have 3 games, making it one of the best days of Swiss because it's three best of threes. These are all the teams that are 2-2. Three of these teams will advance, and three will be eliminated. I think there's really a couple interesting. I think all of these games are actually really interesting as far as the draw goes, and I don't want to say it's rigged, but feels a little rigged to give us these great storylines. Let's start with game number one, CFO. Who doesn't love flying oysters versus Fly? So it's Fly versus Flying Oysters. If you've watched my previous videos about Worlds, you know that I have been extremely high on FlyQuest. They were the team that I picked to go through into. I'll show you here in the pick'ems. This is what I picked. Obviously, I'm going to get only 7 right. And like, it's not rocket science to be like, I'm going to pick all the LPL, all the LCK teams. Now, I did pick T1 before the play-in, but yeah, this is pretty good. And of course, Jin lost a map. KT went through 3-0. There's a little stuff I got wrong, but I really committed to FlyQuest, and I think FlyQuest should be favored here, but I know the feeling that CFO comes from a better, stronger region, which I think is correct, um, technically. And I think the idea that they're a better team maybe is also correct. And Hong Q has really been great. He's extremely young. I think he's only like 18, or he might be 19. But he's been great. And anyways, this is just to say I'm really high on FlyQuest. So I'm gonna play FlyQuest. I'm not trying to talk you into it. If you like CFO, go with CFO. We do know that um, Driver will be starting today for CFO, and when we get there in a second, BLG will be starting Shadow, and we also know the blue side, red side setups. And as always, I have put mine so that blue side is the top, regardless of who's favored, and red side is the bottom team. So um, this is tough because CFO has, I mean, these are legitimately good players. Obviously, we've seen Dago work his way through the LPL. Junjia was in the LPL. Was he on the DRX team that won Worlds, but he didn't get a skin because he didn't play in knockouts? Is that Junjia? Kiosik was the one. Anyways, Junjia is also very good. He's extremely capable in like sniping. His smite work is very, very strong. He's very good at controlling objectives, and I think he has an incredibly favorable matchup here. Although the rest of it, I think, is fairly close. Um, I'm really talking myself into some CFO here. Bwipo has played well, but this is a lot for Bwipo not to overcome this driver rest situation, which I think is kind of the weakest part of CFO. It's interesting for the drafts, and of course, whatever as a strategic move. But I do think that that's probably their weakest position. But Junjia, let's go lane by lane. Junjia versus Inspired. I think Junjia is in better shape. Quad versus Hankyu. I think it's a toss-up. Doggo versus Masu. I'm actually going to side with Doggo here. And Kaiwing versus Busio. I think Busio is the better player overall. But Kaiwing is so aggressive. And Fly, when we talk about these minor region teams, though they're more likely to have throws that allow teams to come from behind. They also are teams that can crumble if they get behind early. And I think with FlyQuest, this could be a real issue. Is we could see this extremely aggressive bot lane of Dago and Kaiwing being supported in by Junjia or Hongq, and we could see them get ahead in bot early. And if drafts favor them, you know what? Here's what I'm going to change it to. I prefer FlyQuest. I think CFO are appropriately favored. I don't think the number is quite right. I would still have it a lot closer to a toss up, maybe like minus 135. I'm not bothering to run my prediction model for Worlds. It's just, there's no point. Yeah, I think I'd look at like a, probably like a minus 135 or at least minus 155. I think minus 175 is a little strong. Now, this is tricky. All of these matches are so interesting, but I prefer FlyQuest. I- If there's a dog I'm getting to tonight, I would expect it to be them and TES, which we'll get to. Hey, guess what? If you've seen any of the videos, you know I was really low on BLG and really high on TES. And I've said several times, I believe that Top Esports should have been the number 1 seed coming out of the LPL. BLG has played to my expectations. I still have concerns about going against them tonight because we've seen BLG beat Top Esports. We just saw BLG win the LPL split, but I like TES here. I think this is a kind of interesting parlay, either the TS money line with Fly money line, TS money line CFO money line, or the TS money line. And I may, even though I know it's a sucker bet, I may get into this over 2.5 at even money. Um, nah, this is a sucker bet. But I like Top Esports here a lot. I think Kanavi, who has kind of played down a little bit at Worlds, he has not looked exceptional, but I think Top Esports draw has provided interesting and unique challenges, and I think that BLG have just been kind of shitty. I I like Top Esports here significantly. I think that they should be pretty heavily owned. I think the right play for DFS may very well be BLG. I would also know Model really likes the overs. This over 29.5, I think, is probably too low, and I'm going to get to a lot of this game. BLG did not score well last night, but that's not a reason to not go back to them. That is a reason to go back to them, especially where we think that TES may get a lot of ownership. It has names people like to click on: Kanavi, JKL, Cream. Recently, historically, people have hated Cream. I'm glad people are coming around. He's great. I think 369 is probably the player that I get to the least here. I like Hong quite a bit, and I think Hong has provided a really good pairing with Jackie Love. Let's look at match three. Match three, Koi versus T1. Hey, T1 have been playing bad. Hey, Koi are not as good as T1. Just based on the player names, when we look at this, we should be favoring T1. We know Doran is definitely much better than Mirwin. Owner can be a lot better than Elyoya. Elyoya is good though. Jojo Pune has never played up to the promise that he has. He had one split like a year and a half ago where he played up to the promise of being this great, like, just transformative player in the mid lane. I I'm not a fan. I used to love him. He burnt me a lot of times. This is one of those things with gambling, right? Where you lose money on him and then you're like, he's not a good player. I think he's a shitty player. But it's bias. It's just gambler's bias. Supa's good. Alvaro has been very good, but he's going up against maybe the greatest support. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Of all time, I think he might be the greatest support of all time. He's definitely transformed the way other teams play support. And he's not that deep into his career. I mean, he could play for quite a while. But Carrier is the best support in a vacuum. Guma is a very competent ADC. Faker's another guy that I hate. This is actually like a matchup of DFS players I don't play between JoJo and Faker. We were talking about this in the Discord earlier this morning. Faker has cost me so much money in DFS. JoJo has won me money and then has lost me money. He's too streaky. I think that there's a good argument, though, that you should play Koi. I think people are going to play FiClass. I think people are going to play TES on a 3 game slate. We can really look to diversify and play some Koi. A Koi 4 person stack, you'll see in the projections, it doesn't project well. It projects the worst of all the teams playing tonight. But nobody's going to play it. And people are going to play T1. They're heavily favored. They're names people like to click on. If we dodge T1, we play a 4 stack of Koi, that gives us such amazing flexibility. We could play, nobody's going to play BLG Koi. Nobody's going to play it. They're just not going to. Why would you? But we know that's probably going to get us to Elk Captain. That's probably going to get us to all the pieces we like. Or we can do a Super Captain and say, hey, I think T1's really going to run off the rails. They haven't played extremely well. They might not be coming into form as effectively as we'd like. Koi have looked fine. They've played better than my expectations. I think they've played equal to everyone else's expectations, but I had very low expectations for them. Maybe we go Koi here. I'm not sure there's anybody that we can count out on this slate. So what we need to do is try and find the teams that are going to 2-0 or try and find the teams that are going to go over on kills. I think Top Esports is the best value in the DFS market for tonight. I think these players have the highest chance of running up the kill score. I think they have the highest chance of having a surprise 2-0. And I think that they're the best dog as far as terms of quality, meaning like the quality of play is the highest, the consistency of play should be the highest. And they go up against an opponent that has shown weakness at Worlds regardless of what they did coming in. I don't think their draw has been exceptionally impressive either. So I'm in love with Top Esports. If Yeti's watching this, Yeti, I'm so sorry, man. I know you will not click on them. And at the end of the day, you are probably going to be right. Vegas is always smarter than me. It's just the way it goes. So really, with the idea that anything's in play, does any of this matter? Like, let's go build a lineup. Um, let's see if we can do that T1. See if we can do Koi BLG maybe. Knight. I don't think I would play Mirwin against Doran. Somebody else might. See, I don't like. But if I'm committed to playing BLG as favorites, I should just play them, right? We'll play El Yoya there. I think this is kind of a chicken move, but we'll save $1,000. Let's do Knight, Supa. I think maybe the right play here is. Sorry. I think maybe the right play here is Alvaro? No, it's on. And then, yeah, so that 4-3 gives us so much room. We're 3,700. Wait a second. Does that mean? Wait a second. What does that? Does that mean we can play double favorite ADC? Oh, shit. Guys, book it. If you want to play favorites tonight, this should be extremely well owned. God damn, this is pretty. I think there's probably an argument to even. Oh, we can't play Cowing. We can play Cowing and Billy Billy. I think this is actually how I would play it. I think I like Cowing a little more than on. And in fact, we can't. Can we go up to Doggo at Captain? No. Nope. We're $100 short. I mean, we can. Nope. Still $100 short. Hong Q is less than. This is like great. This is a great. Wow, this pricing is going to let us do so much. This is a this is a really great setup if you like CFO. We know they're going to play through Doggo. BLG. Okay, let's look. Let's look at this. BLG, fly. Let's see, fly. Fly don't die that much in losses. Domestically, they only had 16 and a half deaths per losses. CFO was 18.9 kills per win, but we've seen CFO at Worlds has elevated this some. And with that included, I think it was like 19.6. So, yeah, I think that this doggo plays pretty interesting as a captain. But to be able to know that we can do like a 4-3, I think more people, if they play BLG CFO, are going to put Elk and captain, they'll put Knight in the spot. I think the other thing you could do it. Oh shit. Let's let's talk about Knight at captain and Honkyu. What if we go Doggo? I mean, this is insane, right? Look at this. This is so stupid. Don't play this. But also, this is the kind of garbage that wins tournaments. Yeah. So let's just actually let's walk this. So that's CFO BLG. What if we want to do CFO TS? Best way to build that is probably I think it's probably Jackie Love. I guess we have to do 369. Want to do Kanavi. I would probably play Hongq, Doggo, Hong, but I think there's an argument to play Cream, High Wing. I would swap it to how I had it. So I'd have Hongq over Cream and Hong over Kai Wing, but no, you can go all four too, actually. This is not like wouldn't be terrible to just do it like this. Do an inverse 3-4 and Doggo captain. Like we can play whatever we want to play here. There's so much money. BLG Koi, play whatever you want. You can price it into whatever. I think here we have to go down to probably let's look at projections. I think we're gonna have to go down to Jungle Captain. Owner. I prefer Doran. We're gonna take Hongq. Guma if we can. Can we do Carrier? No. Oh wow, this is can't do shit. I think we have to do Junjia Captain. And rid of Kaiwing. We'd have to do BLG or TS team. Yeah, so we could take our pick of teams. If we do TS team, that would clear up a lot to where we could do maybe owner Guma. No, we still have to do 4 CFO. So this is not very interesting in the sense that it's inflexible, but I think it's actually still pretty interesting. like like this is kind of interesting to me with top esports, but though having to one off the team is really kind of suboptimal on a 3 game slate, like where none of these seem like slam dunks. I think if there was one team we can one off and feel comfortable about, it's T1. Okay, so that's all the CFOs. Let's do Fly BLG. I don't think any of this will come as a surprise. Um, Yeah, we'll play Inspired there. Like, I think the right play is to play Shadow because if we're assuming BLG win, it's likely that they win the first map. And if they win the first map, I don't think we'll see Beishuan at all. Because if they win the first map, lose the second map, I don't think Beishuan will sub in for the third one. It's possible, but I'd say it's like less than 50%. It's probably like 60-40 that he doesn't. But if they lose the first map, there could be a panic that puts Beishuan in, and then the right play, if they were to reverse sweep, would be to play Beishuan, which I'm not going to do. So I think like many people who are chicken tonight, I'm gonna just totally dodge having to choose between Shadow and Beishuan. Yeah, I mean you can build this however you want. But yeah, FlyQuest is dogs, lets you get to anything with BLG. TS is a dog, we know it'll let us get to anything. MCOY is a dog, we know it'll let us get to anything. Let's look at Fly and P1 and see if that'll get us to Guma Captain. This is the thing we're really trying to run down is can we get to Guma Captain? I think we have to play Inspired there. What's the value difference? Yeah, it's $1,200. I think that $1,200 is as much as I'd rather play owner and the projections would rather it too. I think 1,200 is just such a big gap. We'll play quad. I guess Masu, Kyria. This is just tons of money. If we play owner, that's an exact dead on the money. Salary $0 remaining. 4-3 build with Guma Captain, has Kyria. This is everything we want. I'm gonna play this lineup. This is I'll put it in later, but this is a lineup I will. Yeah, I hate Faker. I'm not. I mean, like he's the greatest maybe to ever play the game, but I don't care because in fantasy he's cost me money. I mean, we could go to Bwipo here and do team. That's kind of interesting to me. But I think like we saw last night, Doran is just so good, and he can be so good in fantasy. I this feels like probably the play. But if I were making a swap, I'd swap top and team. I'm not opposed to running inspired either. And playing Faker would be like a great call because no one's gonna do it. God, this looks so good. Okay, fine, great. Let's see what you can do with BLG Koi. We've already done BLG with CFO and Fly. BLG Koi. Can we do Elk? I don't think we're gonna get there. Oh, with Koi, Koi or a dog, the T1. You can play whatever you want here. You can play Elk Captain. You can play whatever. None of this matters. BLG T1. I think we looked at this before. As you can tell, I'm fading pretty fast today. Owner and Elk are the same pricing, but this is going to cause us problems here. We know we want Knight. We'd prefer Owner, but I'm willing to take. We'll put Guma in, see if we can do this on T1. Elk. Yeah, we're $1,000 short from Elk Captain. And okay, $100 short here. Knight's the cheaper. Elk's cheaper. That's 5, but we can go up 400, 600. I'm trying to find a way that we can do this for 600. So it's I'd have to put this in the optimizer, but I think this might be where we get stuck at. And I hate it. This is the kind of garbage that can win, though, but ugh, look at this fucking garbage of a 4-3. Owner captain, Doran, have to play Faker in mid, have to play Shadow because we have a jungle captain. Can we get up? Does that let us? No. Like, can we get up to like a knight captain here if we're gonna get stuck playing Faker? Maybe we can actually. That's 600, 400, 600, 600. Shadow 6. Yeah, this isn't gonna get us there. You can play. Nope, can't play Faker captain. So I think it's jungle captain. There might be a version of mid, but just looking at it, it's jungle captain or support captain. I'd be more inclined to go support captain, which means that T1 are going to be underowned, which means that I love that T1 fly lineup a lot more. TS Koi, those are both dogs. They'll price themselves in fine. And then this is so easy. Like, have you ever seen an easier one to click? Guma, Caria. Yep. Like, it doesn't leave a ton of salary on the table, but we can go Guma captain maybe. Let's take a look. Yep. $0 left over. We can go Guma captain. It's a 3-4 inverted, so Guma, Doran, Caria. Yeah, have to play TES team in order to make it work, but it's really worthwhile. So there you go. Okay. What was the flying? I'm not going to go back through and look. We're just going to put this in now. Doran, owner, quad, Masu, Caria. Look at that. It's pretty. It's so pretty. It's going to be massively owned. We're going to put that guy in there. All right, let's go look at pick six. We should be able to do a full slip tonight. Let's make sure we don't have any boosts. Okay. What does this look like on screen? Okay, we can work our way through this. We're going to do map by map. And in the projections, you will find a sheet that says daily props. This is what we want. Give me just a second to get this situated. The computer in the other room keeps clicking. It's really driving me nuts. Okay, we'll see what we can make of this. CFO fly. I prefer fly, so we're gonna just look at these. We're gonna look at fly, probably gonna be a 1-1. We're gonna look for anything that's over these 1-1 kills and assists. Um, highlighted here. Similarly, when we get to TES, we're gonna look for stuff that's over the 1-1 kills and assists. And then when we get down to T1, we're gonna use these 2-0s. I think that's pretty safe, but we might want to double check on that. Okay, we have. Oh, yeah. Let's do some heavy correlation here. Doggo kills and a 1-1 is 9.5. We would want to go under that. Is 9.5. Fly, 7.5 for Masu. We like that in the over. Hong Q, 7.33. That's barely over. Don't love it. Quad. Oh wait, 6.5, 5. No, that's still within one. Quad 5.5 kills. 7.33 is what we like. This again, you have to think that FlyQuest is taking a map. If you think CFO win this 2-0, don't do this. This is stupid. Let's just do kills this way. Inspired 4.5, inspired 6.6. So those are the three we like here. We don't like any of these unders, right? 6.5, 9.5, 9.5. It's one. We're not doing that. Kills guaranteed maps. We're not doing these because they're modified. Assists. These are all overs. Let's see if there's one that's really egregious. Kai Wing 21.5. Kai Wing assists. No. And we would need these to be overs. And because we're working on FlyQuest, this Busio over, if they win one, is probably a lock. But you can see in the model here, it just says by 2. So we really only need to look at fly since we're doing overs. Inspired 14.5. Nope. Quad. Nope. We have an under. Masu 11.5. This is too high. If I could take an under on this, this is like, even if they 2-0, this feels very much too high. Doggo 10.5. No. Again, one I would want to take the lesser. Okay. We're not doing creep scores. Let's look at TSBLG. We'd really like to find some where we can go unders. Okay, so here's where we're working. Let me fix this formatting. This is going to drive me crazy. Text. Okay. All right. Kills, guaranteed maps. These are like the only ones that you can go under on pick 6. So do this. Jackie Love, 8.5. Don't love it. Knight, 8.5. No, because at a 1-1, he would still be over. Preem, 7.5. Barely over. Shadow, 6.5. Barely over. Ben, 5.5. 369, 4.5. These are right on the money. This Jackie Love one, if they win a map, it will probably be over. But accounting for the quality of play and this bot lane matchup, I don't know. We're definitely not going to take the under on Cream, even though we think this number is too low or is too close. Yeah, I don't see us taking the under on any of these. Mm. These are modified. Kanavi at 6.5. And Kanavi at 6.5 isn't even great. This modifier is a sucker number. The elk, this is 0.9. This is appropriate to 0.9. Maybe we can find something here in assists. Hong, 22.5. Nope. That's 23.5. Okay. On, 21.5. That's probably an over. God, I hate to take overs on BLG because I really think they could lose 0-2. Okay. Konami 16.5. This is a decent over. We're going to take that over. Preem 13.5. We have them 15.2 if they go 0-1. If they go 1-1. Knight 13.5. This is probably an over. I again don't want to take these overs on T and on BLG in case they lose 0-2. This number is too high for 369. This elk number, no. There's nothing here that's like a slam dunk. Like what we would be looking for is if like they had shadow at 11, we would take that because it'd be constantly over. But so this is just one from, so just the Kanavi, huh? Okay, let's move on to the third map and see if we can maybe find something interesting here. Okay, so third map, we want these, and then the corresponding to that would be these numbers we would want to be under. So we want to be under these mcoin numbers and over T1. Unless if you think that Koi win a map, then you've got like so much. This becomes the pick six that you want to get four from because it would mean you could take overs on MCOY and overs on T1 probably. Well, and unders on T1. Let's take a look. Guma 10 and a half. Okay, so it's a max of four picks. Great. We're gonna take this Guma over 10 and a half. Guma over 10.5. And owner 8.5. Faker 7.5. We could probably do Faker, but that's a Doran 6.5. We like that Doran 6.5. If it's 2-0, we like that a lot. Now, did we take Doran 6.5 yesterday and he only had 5 kills even though he scored 90 fantasy points? Yeah. He really got us on that one. So maybe we're scared of doing that again today. Supa 7.2 kills. Jojo Pune, it's too close. And in a loss, I mean, anything can happen. Now, this says that we should actually take the over on kills for Elyoya, regardless of them losing. This is a really interesting one. So we're going to put Elyoya over 3.5 kills because this is one we might want to mix in. Say, hey, yeah, even in a lot, even in a double loss, his activity leads us to believe that he can get 4 kills. And that gives us a lot of leeway if it ends up being 1-1, where we would still take the Guma and we would do this. So, like on Underdog, this is historically a way that we would push the modifier up is to take an over from both sides because it sees that as negative correlation. So it'll give you a positive modifier. I think it's just underdog.com, right? Underdog Fantasy? Underdogfantasy.com. Uh, I'm not going to log in because I can't remember their login screen if it'll show. But anyways, that's one I would go look at and see if where they have Elyoya at. And if Elyoya, if Elyoya is this low for kills, I'd hammer that over just for the additional correlation. Even though it's like really close in the model's saying it's only 4 kills in an O2. We want all of that juicy negative correlation to drive the payout score up. On pick six, we don't really care about that. Like we don't need to get negative correlation to drive the score up. We need to get like to a dog that gives us some flexibility. So I think those are yeah. Let's look at these assists. Carrier 27.5. Yeah, I mean the carry assist overs and owner 18.5. Yeah, owner. I'll tell you though, this feels a lot like Pick Six is booking it as a 1-1. I know they pull numbers elsewhere, but this feels, yeah, especially here. Like, look at this. We can see Alvaro, they have it 16.5 assists is the number. In our model, it's 16.97. This booking is definitely for a 1-1. So we're going to take a position here that T1 win 2-0, and that gives us really a lot of leeway on these overs to have a lot of space. Faker 19.5, that's not worth it. Doran 16.5. Guma, nope. Alioya, yeah, this is booked as if they have one win. That's so interesting. Let's go back and look here at T1. What do we like? We liked Kanavi. Okay. Yeah, we didn't like any of these. We like this wait, what's in here? Over 16.5 assists. Okay. I'm gonna tier two that. I think we may keep that, but I feel like these might be more interesting. That was the only one we liked there. Fly, CFO. What do we take out of here? Masu. Let's organize these. Now, again, if you have a different feeling about the outcomes of this game, set it up to match the outcomes of the game for you. Like, don't use my picks. My picks are based on what I think is going to happen, and that's quite likely going to be wrong. Kills. Okay, so I'm going to come on. Don't make me put you in another sheet. We're going to return the sheet back to the way it was. And we're going to take these. We're going to slide them back in here. So if you go into the sheet, they're on the right-hand side of this. These are the ones I like. Tier 1, Tier 2 picks. I think that inspired 4.5 kills might actually be a Tier 2 pick. Let's take a look here. Inspired 4.5 kills, 5.5 quad. Masu 7.5. Yeah, so let's move that over to a Tier 2 pick. So those are the Tier 1, Tier 2 picks based on what I think is going to happen, which is fly at least 1-1 in the first two. TES, what do we say? At least 1-1, right? And T1 2-0. That's a big one. There's a lot of juice, a lot of meat on the bone there if you want to play with koi a little bit. So yeah, they're to the right. They're to the right. Let's take you out. So let's build. I don't know what that sound was. Let's build one here. We're going to take out that inspired. We're going to take two from. We're going to take out the Kanavi pick as well, and we're going to take two from T1. And we're going to take that Buma kills over. Way too low, I think. If they 2-0, it's significantly 2-0. Too low. We should be over by 6. And then we're going to take the. What do we have? Owner. God, I hate to go back to Doran because he burnt me last night. But it should just be such a slam dunk spot, especially against Mirwin. You know what? I'm going back to the owner. Okay. We'll just do 5. I'll diversify and add some additional ones also, but easy peasy. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. Well, it checks that location, puts the pick in. There you go. That's what I like. What you may like may change. This is why I put the projections in here. Those projections, of course, match the other projections. So who fucking knows what's going to happen? It's stupid to project these things. Obviously, I like the TSBLG projection the most because it's based on a history of intra-league play that includes the two teams playing each other several times. So I feel like this is the one we should have the best knowledge of, like the kill overs in that match. I like TES in that match, regardless of history. I think form really gives us so much more. 3 teams advanced, 3 teams eliminated, which means that either TS or BLG will be eliminated. And this is a chance for a minor region, because frankly, it is a minor region compared to the LCK and LPL, to knock out a team like T1, a legend and storied career there. That's all I have. I'll not be making any more videos probably for some time. If you need me for anything, join the Discord. I'll put the Discord link in the uh, descriptions. Join the DFR Discord where we talk for free. And Will Sue, Millie Maker, is out of town. He's in an area where he can't play. So there's a chance that some other people might be able to win such sports. He's gone for 2 weeks, guys. He's a really great guy. When I talk about like a community, he's the type of guy that I truly mean. But with him being gone for 2 weeks, let's try and run it up a little bit. Maybe we can get to like some additional NFL. He might be able to play NFL where he's at, just not esports. Fuck. But let's get in there, get in those contests. Let's make some money, and I love you.